All right, Coach. There's a lot to take in this weekend. I mean, the boys program, you guys are right there towards the top. Something you guys been working to get Waverly towards the top again. I guess let's start there. This team coming together. What is different about this team versus the last? I mean, just numbers wise, or just the right guys are falling into place?
Well, I think there's more talent. I mean, we've got more talent on this team than we've had in the last few years. That'd be first, and then I think the next part is I think this team's more of a team than they've been. The chemistry of this group of kids has been phenomenal. They've been finding ways to have fun with it on a daily basis, and I don't necessarily know that has happened the last couple of years where it's been more just the work approach. Where now it's like, hey. Aiden Regan's told me last night I got to get more takedowns in this next match because Jacob just got X amount, and so they're finding games to play within their matches, and I think that's snowballed into competition amongst each other as well, and the confidence is just really starting to come through of these guys realizing what they're capable of.
Battle of Waterloo, that was fun. Then you guys got into the Clash a little bit. Not every year I guess to have teams up there. What does that tournament do for you guys, just individually and as a team?
I think it's just another opportunity. Don Bosco was nationally ranked when we saw them at the Battle of Waterloo, but there's familiarity there with them. And so then being able to go up to the Clash, see some teams that we don't get to see on a regular basis, weekly basis, that are nationally ranked, and then compete with them. Oak Park River Forest, they beat us pretty handedly, but out of any team in the tournament, we won more matches against them. Shakopee, they're ranked just ahead of us nationally, and we were right there without two of our state place winners. And so I think all of that, our guys realizing, like, hey, we're here with the best teams in the country right now. Imagine what we're capable of. So it's just been breeding that confidence for our guys.
The tournament, a lot of people are talking about the girls IWCA coming in and kind of putting their footprint on this. You guys had this tournament always,
Yep.
but it kind of snowballed into a state tournament. How did that all kind of get put together? Who was behind it?
Conversations. So I know Charlotte Bailey kind of brought it to me, and she's like, hey, would you be interested in having a conversation about doing a girls state at your place? And the reason being is you're the last date on the schedule that the Iowa High School Athletic Association put out. And so that started the first conversation, and then got a hold of Louie and asked Louie, hey, what do you think about this idea? And so then we just kept bringing people in the conversation, and that's where it kind of started out, was just some off-the-cuff conversation of, hey, you're the last one on the schedule. What do you think about building that into the state tournament? And so, I've been doing everything that I can I guess I think of to help build this, because it's coming. It's going to be part of Iowa wrestling. It's going to be part of wrestling, across the nation, across the world. It's already there. So we want to be ahead of it. And so when we started snowballing these ideas, I was like, hey, we can make this happen on our end. Is it something, that the state's willing to help find and support? And then IWOCA comes in and throws their support at it as well. So it's been just some general talk, and then snowballing, hey, let's take it to the next step.
Lots of media buzz around it, which I think is always good, right? National attention has been around this tournament. Iowa is behind, quite frankly, and hopefully this kind of lets people know that Iowa does have the girls' numbers behind it, and a school in general. I talked to a couple of girls at the practice here, and they've been around wrestling, never been out for it, but you've got a dozen girls. How many girls you got out now?
We've got 11 girls out right now. And it's funny, I was just in class today. One of the girls that are on the team was talking about, my class assignment was talking about goals today in class, and she actually, her goal was to get better in wrestling, and she had stated that wrestling had been an interest of hers forever, but she never was brave enough to go out and wrestle with the boys. And she goes, so when wrestling came to Waverly, she's like, I was 100% in. And I think there's more of those girls out there than anyone would believe. So it really just starts with starting to ask questions. Hey, is there interest out there? And you'd be surprised how much interest there is, and then taking it to the next step. Okay, we got that interest. Now what's the next step to that? And that's where we started. as a program, and we wanted to kind of lay the foundation this year, and then we'll take off of that next year, and hopefully with our facilities upgrades here, we're going to be able to run, our boys practice right next to our girls practice, and have that ability to be in two separate rooms when we want to be, but we're going to be able to run a full program, girls and boys, by next year. So
what are you hoping that fans and the competitors, coaches take away from this weekend?
Well, I think first of all that there's interest in Iowa for girls wrestling, and it's something that there's enough interest that we need to get this fully sanctioned, I guess you'd say, whether it's the boys union getting the blessing from the girls union of, hey, why don't you guys kind of take it and run it? We'll definitely support it, but we'd like you guys to run with it, or the girls union stepping up and say, hey, we're going to sanction this, we're going to take it, but we need assistance from the boys, or whatever that combination is. Fully sanction it, get everything behind it, the funding behind it, and get it implemented into school programs.
One last thing, what is the story behind the yes, yes, yes? How'd that get started? I mean, I think a lot of people know WWE, around the wrestler there, but how did you get started in the program here?
So, like I said, it's just these things of starting to have some fun with things, and through our conversations of, hey, let's get excited about something. And so it just, I don't know, it just kind of came up one day, and we started kind of, I was like, hey, are we, ready to go? And the guys are like, yes. And then all of a sudden someone else is like, throws in another yes. And so our guys, it's been motivating for them. It's been fun. And, we found this, up at the Clash, we were getting a workout outside before that day too, and a squirrel with a nut ran by, and I said, hey, if we get that nut, we'll be done with our workout. And of course they take off running, whatever. Well, the squirrel ends up dropping the nut, they get the nut, and so we've got the nut. And so now it's before every competition we go out and we're like, hey, you guys ready to get the nut? And they're like, start going with the yes, yes, yes. And it's fun, it's fun, and they're enjoying it. So we decided let's run with it and have some more fun with it. So.